Well, it's not just 60 Minutes, right? I mean, they took down his chief late night critic. CBS News at 6:30 does sound and feel different.
Trust
so
me,
this is not just about 60 Minutes.
I feel it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm part of it. I get it. But we're just talking about 60 Minutes now. But yes, I agree. He's a danger to media. He's a danger to freedom of speech. But just 60 Minutes, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not going to make that decision until I see a smoking gun, like something like, oh wow, now we're tick tick tick, Candace Owens and Alex Jones on 60 Minutes. But also get a life. Stop making him your whole personality.
Bill Maher sat down with this Democratic senator, and the aftermath was nothing short of explosive. During their intense 60-minute exchange, Maher systematically dismantled the senator's arguments with relentless precision. His criticism was sharp, direct, and absolutely blistering. So if you're looking for unapologetic political commentary and unfiltered debate, hit that subscribe button and let's dive right in.
They get the shakeup at 60 Minutes. Big controversy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're watching a censorship state be created. Trump is using the powers that he has available as president of the United States to install only friendly ownership at the big media companies. He's using regulatory powers to punish people who oppose him.
That's a big charge that you just made. That 60 Minutes itself and CBS itself is now completely MAGA. I don't see it that way.
Completely MAGA.
Well, that's kind of what you said.
But he is clearly intent on installing people who will tell his story.
Oh, of course.
And will keep his critics off the air.
But let me ask you this question. I watch 60 Minutes every week. I've had since I was a kid. If I didn't hear all the buzz in the media, if I didn't read about it all the time, would I ever notice that it was any different? I don't think I would.
Yeah, but it's not.
Critics have long maintained that 60 Minutes treated Joe Biden and Kamala Harris far more favorably when Democrats held power. The most frequently cited example remains Kamala Harris's widely criticized interview, which many believe was heavily edited and carefully polished before it aired. According to these critics, the media didn't merely shape the narrative, they thoroughly sanitized it. Now, however, the political landscape has shifted, and some on the left are expressing concerns about media integrity. Senator Chris Murphy has warned that Donald Trump could potentially exert similar influence over 60 Minutes and CBS. Critics argue that those who previously overlooked selective editing and media bias are now condemning the possibility of comparable actions from the opposing side. To them, the perceived double standard is impossible to ignore.
It's not just 60 Minutes, and part of it is you don't know what they choose not to. You don't know what they choose not to air.
That's true too.
Part of what the allegation is that they are killing stories that would be embarrassing for the president. So it's hard to know what you're missing in a censorship environment.
But I've seen ones that are not very favorable to the president.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I would have noticed any different if I hadn't been reading about it. Also, I just don't think being a 60 Minutes correspondent is that hard. I don't feel like Scott Pelley was a national treasure.
Did Chris Murphy really suggest that the president is pressuring 60 Minutes to suppress stories that could be politically damaging? Bill Maher challenged that assertion, arguing that it reflected a selective interpretation of recent history. Maher and others point to the handling of the Hunter Biden laptop story, which they believe was downplayed by major media outlets and restricted by some technology platforms. They also note that many Democrats expressed little concern about those developments at the time. From this perspective, today's strong reactions appear inconsistent with previous responses to similar concerns about media influence. Critics view the current outrage as more performative than principled.
Companies change hands all the time. I never liked them, sorry, I just never did. Companies change hands. People bring in their own people, their new ownership. Just because something changes doesn't mean. I feel like we see everything through such a partisan lens. Oh my God, 60 Minutes has a new cast. So does Saturday Night Live.
This is precisely why Bill Maher maintains such a complicated relationship with many on the left. He refuses to follow a strict party line and often voices opinions that challenge prevailing narratives. That independent approach has made him a controversial figure among those who prefer ideological consistency. The recent staffing changes at 60 Minutes, according to Maher, should not automatically trigger accusations of political interference. Leadership transitions occur regularly across media organizations and do not necessarily indicate something sinister. While Democrats often portray themselves as pragmatic and measured, critics argue that they increasingly interpret routine events through a highly partisan lens. To those observers, this pattern reflects the same political strategies employed during their own time in power.
It's not just 60 Minutes, right? I mean, they literally they took down his chief late-night critic. CBS News at 6:30 does sound and feel different.
Trust me,
this is not just about 60 Minutes.
I feel it too.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm part of it. I get it. But we're just talking about 60 Minutes now. But yes, I agree. He's a danger to media. He's a danger to freedom of speech. But just 60 Minutes, I don't know. I mean, and I'm not going to make that decision until I see a smoking gun, like something like, oh wow, now we're tick tick tick, Candace Owens and Alex Jones on 60 Minutes.
Maher has emphasized that speculation alone is insufficient. He insists on concrete, verifiable evidence before concluding that Trump has compromised the independence of 60 Minutes. In his view, serious accusations require substantial proof rather than assumptions or circumstantial concerns. Maher points to what he considers stronger examples of media interference, including the handling of the Hunter Biden laptop story, as the type of evidence needed to support such claims. He argues that demanding a consistent evidentiary standard protects against unfairly damaging reputations based on conjecture. From his perspective, routine personnel changes at 60 Minutes simply do not meet that threshold. He has also suggested that Scott Pelley's departure should not automatically be viewed as evidence of wrongdoing. Sometimes organizational restructuring is simply that.
But also, get a life. Stop making him your whole personality. Thank you. In meditation, not that I really do it, but I'm gonna start. But I know they say when you're trying to clear your mind, but thoughts rush in, don't fight them. Just let them pass like a cloud. Well, maybe that's what we should do with some of Trump's stupid stuff.
Maher's perspective arrives at a moment when he believes political reactions have become increasingly excessive. He argues that many critics respond to nearly every action taken by Trump with immediate outrage. Whether it involves staffing changes at 60 Minutes, immigration policies, or foreign policy decisions regarding Iran, opposition often escalates rapidly into intense condemnation. According to Maher, this constant state of alarm ultimately weakens legitimate criticism. His advice is straightforward. Choose battles carefully, maintain perspective, and reserve strong reactions for issues that genuinely warrant them. He believes political discourse would benefit from greater restraint and less reflexive outrage.
There's a lot of outrageous, horrible shit going on. Not all. We don't have to take off our shoes at the airport anymore. I like that. And I gotta say, I love it that Iran won't be getting a nuclear bomb anytime soon. And no, I'm not saying that because I sat down with him once and ate his green beans. I'm kidding, there were no vegetables.
One of the most common criticisms directed at Bill Maher is that he has gradually shifted toward the political right. Some interpreted his invitation to Trump for a late-night White House visit as evidence of a quiet endorsement. Since then, critics on the left have questioned whether he has become overly sympathetic to the opposition. Maher firmly rejects those accusations. He argues that his position is not rooted in partisan loyalty, but in a refusal to assume that everything Trump does is inherently wrong. He has occasionally acknowledged policies or decisions from the Trump administration that he views positively, despite criticism from fellow liberals. In Maher's view, this is not political betrayal, but an exercise in intellectual independence and honesty, qualities he believes have become increasingly rare in today's polarized